Hello, world. My name is Ashley Collins, aka The Aunt of Dragons. Welcome to my YouTube channel, The Breakup Diaries. Have you noticed that, I feel like whenever I'm talking with my hands, I'm like directing a symphony, like a crescendo, decrescendo, give me more. Okay, sorry, I'm distracted. This is a subject I've been pondering for several months now. I want to say it's close to a year now. What is it, May? It's May now, Mother's Day. I gotta go get a Mother's Day present. Speaking of mothers, she's the I guess the inspiration for, now I'm so distracted by my hands. She's the inspiration for why I'm having these thoughts. So a little bit about my religious background. I grew up in the church, went to church every Sunday-ish. Bible study every Wednesday-ish. We would Bible hop. We would church hop to different churches. So we didn't necessarily belong to a church until I was a teenager. Primarily when my sister became ill. My mother would speak in tongues, and we would read a couple of verses from the Bible every night before we went to sleep. We bought almost all of the parable movies, so we'd be watching Christian movies throughout the day on top of Disney movies. So I know a lot of Bible stories, and I can't quote the Bible though. Even though we used to read it before we went to sleep every night, which is what I attribute to how I learned to read so fast in school. The teachers were always so impressed by oh, you did really well saying that big word, and I'm like, yeah, I learned how to say Bartholomew, even though I can't say it now. But and then when my sister became ill, we stopped going to church because obviously my mom would spend the night in the hospital. We would stay the night in the hospital or at my aunt's house. And then fast forward now, present tense. My mom doesn't go to church at all, and this has nothing to do with COVID. I think in a way she feels hurt and abandoned by the church. And on top of that, this is going to sound very cruel, but my sister can't walk. So it's very laborious having to lift her around. I can't even lift her. I don't lift her, So, because she's 100 pounds of dead weight. So it's how much does she actually weigh? Because she refuses to do things on her own, She's slowly doing things on her own, but this is 15 years of having to coax her to do things on her own. But one thing my mom still does is pray though. She prays every morning, middle of the afternoon, before she goes to sleep. But what she traditionally does is she prays for other people. I remember I made a video a couple of years ago bragging about how I lost my religion, and I'm so embarrassed for even making that video. But I think that every college student goes through that phase, where it's you're bombarded with all of these thoughts and all of these ideas, and you're like, yeah, religion is kind of stupid, and I want to be a part of this crowd who. We always say this, right? We always say, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual, whatever the fuck that means, So it's in a way, it's we move from one group, one label to another, and we like to use logic, But yeah, I went through that phase of not believing in anything and falsely saying that I believe in the universe. And even then, I'm still wary if I really mean it when I say that. So what is the difference between prayer and meditation? What is the difference between prayer and manifesting? So when you think of prayer, what is prayer, right? You put your hands together and you say, Dear God, thank you for waking me up this morning. Or you say, now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep, that if I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. Even now I know that very, very well. Even now I still say that every now and then. Maybe you're thinking that prayer is when you're asking for something, right? Where you're like, God, please let me get this job. What are some of the most common places that we pray? We pray a lot when we're on roller coasters. You're like, God, please let me let me survive this roller coaster. Oh, and the other place that we pray the other place we pray the most often is in hospitals. So you're asking for something, you're outsourcing, talking to someone to give me something, right? But I think that's incorrect. I think that if we're going to pray, I think that we should do it the way that my mom does it. And you pray for other people to land that job, for other people to make it home safely, and I guess in a way you're still outsourcing to someone else to, I don't know, but it's like, I think that those positive thoughts, that positive energy, isn't that similar to manifesting? But rather than writing it down, you're just saying it out loud, or you're saying it in your mind. But when you're manifesting, aren't you supposed to be believing it in your mind anyway? So what's the difference? So what is meditating? Meditating is you're supposed to be still, shut up, and listen, right? But what are you listening to? Who are you listening for? You're listening to that tree's gonna talk to you? I think that, like, that doesn't sound very, sorry, my neck itches. That doesn't sound very realistic to me. So what are you listening to? I mean, it's obviously scientifically proven that when you're meditating, there's something chemically, there's a massive chemical reaction happening with your body. When I meditate every morning, my hands are always tingling, and there's always like this kind of humming that's happening in my body. And I like to think that maybe it's my body singing to itself to heal. For a time, I went to a Catholic church, and God, it was so beautiful inside the church. I mean, the church still exists now here in Tampa. I had to get used to telling people where I live. But there is this moment, forgive me, I don't remember what the phrase is called, and if you do know what I'm talking about, please correct me. But there is this moment where we would kneel, and either you can pray or be silent. And I remember being so restless. I'm like, I can't, where's the noise? Where's the singing? Where's the shouting? But even like I had, even now present tense, even in college, when we were doing yoga, the professor would be like, be still. And I'm like, I cannot be still. Like, what do you mean? Like, can we do something? Can we get up and move? But I think that prayer and meditating are similar in the fact that you're supposed to be still, shut up, and listen. And like I said, you're thinking to yourself, who are we listening for? Why do you need that answer? Okay, so another thing people like to brag about, they talk about how they don't believe in any religion, is because the things that men do in the name of God, right? They start wars, several wars, present tense even now. They hurt people, they kill people in the name of God. But I think that it's a part of man. I think it's a part of humans that we want to worship something. I think that it's a part of our humanness that we want to believe in something. And whether you believe in a man in the sky, or if you believe in that tree, there's a tree outside my window. So whenever I'm referring to a tree, that's why. I refer to trees a lot in my videos. So a little bit of context clues. But but whatever you choose to believe in, that's a part of our humanness. We need to believe in something because life is insane. This is strange. This is quite strange that I can look in this camera and I know what I look like, but then if I met myself in real life, I wouldn't know who I am. Another thing, maybe you think that the Bible is fiction because man wrote it. Man wrote a lot of things. But if you think about it logically, if you think about it scientifically, I believe in the Big Bang, right? The Big Bang created lots of things. It created several planets. It created oxygen. It created life on Earth, right? So why is that so impossible to believe that the Big Bang created godlike beings, right? Why is it so impossible to believe that after several years, several millions of years, this little teeny tiny caterpillar evolved into Adam and Eve? Why is that so hard to believe that in David and Goliath, right? Goliath is a giant, right? We have giants now. Shaquille O'Neal's a fucking giant, and and why is it so hard to believe that this little boy David threw a slingshot and hit Goliath perfectly, and a part of his brain and a part of his head that killed him instantaneously? We get head trauma all the time and we die, right? Maybe you're thinking Samson and Delilah, right? Why is that so hard to believe that this man destroyed this massive stadium? Mothers lift cars off their babies. People punch through ice with their hand, unbruised. Why is that so hard to believe? Why? And then now the big one, the big bang, right? Jesus Christ. Why is that so hard to believe? It's been scientifically proven that the amount of times that Jesus was whipped, if it was one more time, he would have died. Why is it so hard to believe that they wrapped his wounds so well that he rose on the third day? People are in coma for months, for years, and they rise. So now you're thinking that, I think that it's beautiful that we have these stories, we have these parables, we have these lessons, right? Because if you really think about it, if you collect all of these stories written by philosophers, scientists, novelists, etc., you would have a new form of Bible. But like you're probably thinking, forgive me for putting words in your mouth, you're saying that the things that people do in the name of religion is wrong. We do things in the name of other shit all the time too, though. God, I was supposed to not curse in this video because I was supposed to tag a friend. Sorry. I'll tag her in something else. But people do shit in the name of things that they believe in all the time, right? Like we loot in the name of a movement, in the name of a movement, right? We burn down cities in the name of a football team, you know? Like, but you choose to follow that. You still choose to follow that, you know? God, I've gone so off script. Meditation is in every religion. We just call it different things. Words. We call things different words, right? But at the end of the day, it's all meditation, is all prayer. And I think that it's very comforting. I think it's very comforting to believe in something. And I don't think that we should make people feel stupid or guilty for believing in something that you don't. And I also don't think it's our job to force it on you. I'm definitely not trying to force anything on you. This is just my stream of consciousness. I'm just flowing right now. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm just trying to make sense of everything. So can you be morally just and not religious? Yes, of course. Of course. But like I said, I think that we need to belong to a kind of group, and we just call our group of something else. I'm a part of Team Atheist. I'm a part of Team Spiritual. Whatever you want to call yourself, just be morally just. That's it. Don't force your beliefs on someone else. Don't try to say come join my thing. You know, like, just be. And also, why are you so uncomfortable with religion? I think that we tie religion too closely to our trauma, to our traumatic upbringing, which for some of us, was it really that traumatic for you? Was it really that traumatic that your parents taught you discipline by waking up Sunday morning at 7 a.m. to get up? You have to wake up at 7 a.m. to get up to go to work anyway. So sorry your parents taught you discipline. Sorry that your parents taught you to listen. Sorry that your parents taught you to believe in something. And I also think that there's this quote that Jason Silva didn't say it, but I went to God just to see, and I was looking at me. Maybe you don't want to believe in a man in the clouds, but what if you can just allow yourself this time to believe in yourself? Maybe Jesus was just a man. But I think that's thrilling. That this just man inspired millions, inspired thousands, still now to this day. So you as a man, you as a woman, you have the power to inspire so many people, and they're going to write so many stories about you in the future as well, and you're still going to continue to inspire people, and maybe they'll call you fiction. And I think that's the biggest compliment. Call me fictional character, because that means I did something so otherworldly. I did something so magical. I did something that was so unbelievable that you think it was magic. And I think that as humans, we are magical. What else was I gonna say? I wrote it down. I really want to say this. In every religion, there's a moment of silence, right? Like I said, very similar to meditation. It does make me sad when people say that they don't have any religious affiliation. It makes me think that, so you don't believe in anything. What helps you get out of bed every morning? You know? What drives you? I don't know. A couple of things, and I had to go because I have rehearsal, and I'm probably super late for this rehearsal. So, things are always constantly fighting for our attention. Mainstream media. They call it a stream because it's a river, but this is the mainstream that everyone's going to, right? Be careful what you give your attention to. Be careful what you follow. And I'm sure that you've probably already heard this, but I definitely encourage you to check twice, check thrice, check a couple of more times, and be careful who you worship. Because sometimes I think that we worship celebrities a little bit too much as well. And it has that become your new God. Be still. Be still, the Lord will fight for you. Be still, ask for direction, and it will guide you. Being still means don't worry about it. Being still means hakuna matata. Being still means that everything will work out according to plan. And you don't need to ask for it. You don't need to pray and ask for it. You don't need to meditate and ask for it. You don't need to write it down and ask for it. It's going to happen. But if you need to control your mind, if you need to control your body, then sure. If that gives you comfort, then do it. Yes, do it. But be patient. And be careful what you give your attention to. Be careful what stream you choose to follow. Okay, so one of the actors just texted me. I gotta go. And also just remember to say thank you. Prayer and meditating is just a way of gratitude, of just a way of saying thank you. Thank you for when something bad happens, say thank you. When something good happens, always say thank you. Okay? Remember, I went to God just to see. When I looked up, I went to God just to see. When I looked up, I saw me. Stay magical. Okay? That's probably a little sacrilegious. Okay, bye.